Hello there, and welcome to the 5th edition of the Norton Live Builds. Over a total of 6 episodes, we're building our own Norton Live backlit sign. And as you can see here, it's really starting to take shape now, which is great. Okay, so before we start, I want to hand you over to Martin, who's going to explain how you could interact today with our live build. Over to you, Martin.
Hi, Paul, and welcome everyone to this episode of Norton Live Builds. We are indeed live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and of course our Norton website. If you wish to access multilingual subtitles, head over to our website, nortonabrasives.com/en-gb/live. You can use the player on that page, and in the bottom right, you will see a CC button. Click that to access the subtitles in any of the available languages. Now, unfortunately, we have the same technical issues that we had for the last stream, which is causing us an issue with accessing the Q&A. So, unfortunately, we're not going to have the Q&A session again this episode. Sorry for that.
Okay, thank you for that, Martin. Great instructions there. Okay, shame about the Q&A, but never mind. Okay, so in this session, we're going to be looking at linear finishing and polishing. I say, again, as always on these live builds, we've got quite a lot of work ahead of us today. But before we get into the meat of this session today, I think it's good to have a recap of the story so far. Martin, could you please run VT? To remove this really tough scale, we need a really tough product, and that's our Razor Star fiber disc. We use our Rapid Prep extra coarse Vortex material to bring that scratch down. We're going to cut out our Norton logo, so I'm going to actually go for the 1.3 Quantum. You can see there's a lot of burrs and a lot of sharp edges on these letters. I'm going to go for our Norton Quantum flat disc. It'd be just nice to blend that scratch away. I'm going to use our Vortex Rapid Blend 5AM product. You can do that on an internal area. I'm using our Carbide Burr Extreme. These little bits of weld where we had the overcuts, that's what we need to take off. Now this is our Norton Razor Star product. Our surface conditioning disc here in our Vortex extra coarse, where we're going to polish. We used our unitized discs as we see here. Great, thank you again, Martin, for that. So as you can see, we did a lot of work on the last live stream, and now we've got this sheet into a pretty good condition. And we said today we're going to be both polishing and linear finishing. So we've got 2 different finish types that we're going to achieve on this carbon steel plate here on this session. So as I said, it's very different finish requirements that you need to get yourself up to the point where you need to linear finish as versus when you want to polish. So we decided this part of the sheet we've got in front of us here is going to be linear finished. I've actually taken that up to a medium grade finish using our Rapid Prep Vortex Surface Conditioning Disc. Yeah, there is still a scratch on there, but as we're actually imparting a scratch on there, we don't need to take this finish any further. That is good enough for us to do the linear finish process. However, on this section of the sheet here, so the top section of the sheet, this is where we want to do a polish. So we've taken that to a much finer finish and tried to reduce the scratch level as to get it as almost as perfect as possible. Never going to be possible when we're using an angle grinder for all the other applications, but we've got it pretty nice, I think. So that is ready for polishing. Okay, so I think without further ado, we might as well get into some of the activity that we've got to do today. And as I said, 2 different finishes. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to actually do the polishing. Now, you may think that is a strange one to start with because polish is a finer finish. You may think we'll leave that till last. But it'll become clear later on as to why I'm going to polish before I do the linear finish. Okay, so let's get on with that. So I think it's really good to introduce, first of all, the products we've got here for the polishing step, which is our Norton Rapid Polish disc. So here's the disc in front of us here. So this is Rapid Polish. It's a pure felt disc. So as you can see here, there's flaps of felt that have been adhered to a Type 27 backing plate and no abrasive at all in this. This is pure felt, okay? One thing to note about our Norton Rapid Polish is the speed. Okay, so the maximum speed on here is 7,700 RPM. Okay, so you cannot put this product on a fixed speed angle grinder. Okay, I mean, it's not dangerous. You'll just end up flying all of the felt across the room everywhere. You'll be spitting it out. So it's not healthy for you to do that. So it's not rated speed wise for a fixed speed angle grinder. So you must make sure the angle grinder you have has a variable speed function like mine grinder here today. So we need to make sure we're running below 7,700 up to maximum of 7,700 RPM. Okay, so the polishing we're going to do, it will be a two-stage process here today, unfortunately, so it's going to take a little bit more time. That's due to, you know, we've done a lot of work with you know, coated abrasives and heavy abrasives on here, so there is quite a scratch even still in the surface. So I need two different types of compound, and yes, you cannot use these discs without compound. We must use our compounds with these discs to help it do the job. So the first compound I'm going to use is our brown compound we have in front of us here. Now the brown compound has a little bit of cut in it. So it will give us a nice sort of matte gloss finish, but it has some cutting ability and it will help us, again, reduce those scratch levels further. Okay, so I'll show you how we're going to use that in a minute. But the second stage is going to be our white compound. Okay, so this has just a polishing effect on there. So that will give us our extreme high gloss, so almost mirror finish that we're going to try to achieve on this top section of the material today. So brown compound for doing a little bit of cut with a rapid polish disc, and then we'll switch on to the white compound to give us our final finish. Okay, so without further ado, I think we should get on with the work. Now, I do have some rapid polish discs already loaded up with compound, and I'll show you what I mean by loading straight away, to be honest. But first of all, I'm just going to get on my PPE. I'll get on my gloves. I've already got my hearing protection in, so the earplugs are in already. Again, overalls to keep myself clean, and also I'm going to be wearing my shoes as well, safety shoes. I'm going to be wearing my full face helmet just to keep any debris from my eyes too. Okay, so again, I have to keep the lid up while I'm talking to you because it does affect the microphone. But now I'm going to show you how you should mount the disc on your grinder, same as you would do a flat disc or a cutting disc. So you want the felts facing outwards because that's the bit you want to use. And then we attach it simply by the flanges. Okay, spin that on there. And then we need to get this compound onto this disc, and that's quite easy to do, to be honest with you. It can be a little bit dirty, so there's a bit of a knack to doing that. So let me turn this machine power on first of all. Okay, yeah, we are plugged in and ready to go. Okay, so to get your disc loaded with compound, you just simply again check the speed. So I'm looking at speed 3 on this machine, so that's about 6,000 RPM. So again, I'm below the 7,700 limit of the disc, so I'm safe to use that. We have to load it up by hand, so I've got to offer the compound to the face of the disc. When I said you want to be careful, what happens is you do spray a little bit of the compound away from you when you do this. So make sure there's nothing in front of you here, and you're just spraying it away onto the floor, onto a bench, or in a dustbin or something. So we simply turn the machine on, we offer the compound to the face of the felt, and we load it up nicely with that lovely compound. Right, let's have a look. Okay, so as you can see, the changing color of the disc, we've obviously got that full of the compound. And now I can start to do our first stage of the polishing on the sheet here. Now, I think due to the size of the sheet, we'll stay in the middle here. And that's where I'm going to get this area here nice and polished. And then after that, we're going to do this area here with the linear finish, so you can see the difference between the two finishes. Hopefully, we can achieve. All right, so when you're using this product, again, you want to use it around about 10 to 15 degree angle. And first of all, you travel a little bit slowly, let the compound do its work. And then once you see the gloss started to come through, you can speed up the way you oscillate this tool over the machine. I have to be a little bit careful here because we've got a lot of cutouts. So it's going to be quite aggressive to this felt disc when we go over these edges. So we're going to have to pay a little bit of attention to that. So it's not going to be an easy job, but I'm sure we'll manage. Okay, let's go. Okay, so again, we were just going to focus on this small area. Otherwise, we'll be here probably half a day to finish the whole sheet, which I will have to do later anyway. But for your viewing pleasure, we'll keep it short and sharp. Okay, so we've pretty much taken away the scratches. I can visibly see these scratches disappear as I'm using that compound. Now we get a nice microfiber cloth and we can wipe that away just so you can see the difference in the finish we have here versus the rest of the sheet. I think you can see we're starting to get a bit of a shine on there. Okay, starting to come through. Mark, could you pick that up on camera okay? Great, okay, good to hear. Right, so that's got our first stage of polishing done. Then now we need to change over to the white compound to give us that high gloss that we're actually looking for. Most important thing here is make sure you change your rapid polish disc over. So if you've used this rapid polish disc with the brown compound, you must make sure you do not then load the disc up with the white compound because it's contaminated effectively. So if you use two different types of compound, keep that disc with the compound you've been using it. Put it in a bag, keep it safe so you don't get any of the debris or dust that goes on there, just to keep it again nice and fresh to use for next time. So on to the next one, the white compound. Put this disc on here. Whoop! Don't drop your flange on your material and make another scratch. I've been ages taking these out already. I don't want to do that again. So lock that into space. Okay. So now we can load up with the white compound. Let me just sort the machine power out again. What about that? Okay, we're on. Okay, so let's load up with white. And we do the same process again, all over the areas we've been with the brown. We just repeat that with the white compound and give ourselves a gloss. Let's go. Okay, so that was pretty quick, to be honest with you. So the brown compound gave us a real advantage there, you know, really taking a scratch out from the very beginning and just letting the white compound do its work, you know, giving us that high gloss. And again, very difficult to pick up a polish with a camera, to be honest with you. It's not so easy unless you can go from multiple angles is quite difficult to see. But tune into our reveal and you'll see this a lot better on that. But I think that looks pretty good. You can notice a very discernible difference with the finish here. And probably if I hold my glove over it, if you get a close-up there, I think you can see the reflection of my hand perfectly. Whereas over here, you cannot see that. The areas where I didn't polish, that is not visible. But you get a really good mirror image of my glove over there because I've done our two-stage polishing system. Okay, so happy with that so far. Again, won't power off. Again, it's never going to be perfect because we have done a lot of work, as we said, you know, cutting the letters out, welding these letters in, grinding the weld down. We've had a lot of activity with abrasives over here. So, you know, I'm trying to make the best of the job as I possibly can, but it's never going to be perfect, but it'll be good enough for what we're trying to do today. So let's keep those out of the way there. So that's the rapid polish and our compounds done. So next we're moving on to our linear finishing. Okay, so this is what we mean by linear finishing, is actually getting a finish in a linear scratch, if you like. So we're actually imparting a scratch into the surface of this steel. And to be honest with you, linear finishing is probably a much more, well, it is a much more common finish than you get with a polish. And there's a few reasons why. I mean, polish, yes, it looks very nice, but it's very high maintenance. So once you've got a polished, bright, shiny finish like we have here, that's going to take a lot of maintenance because it will need a lot of cleaning to keep it looking good. Otherwise, it looks terrible very quickly. Linear finishing, however, because we're putting a linear scratch into the surface and we're breaking up that surface by giving it them lines, it doesn't need as much maintenance, and visually it looks very nice too. Also, again, if I'm linear finishing, I don't need to do as much work to the sheet of this steel to get it ready for linear finishing. Therefore, it takes less time to process. So that's why it's a more appealable finish for most people, and it's more common in the market. Okay, so for linear finishing, I've got, again, a two-stage system we have in front of us here today, and these are involving our Beartex Satinex wheels. Okay, two different wheels I have in front of us here. You'll notice this one here actually has coated abrasives inside. So it has a P60 coated abrasive with a medium grade non-woven hand pad material attached in a 1-to-1 ratio. So what that does is that gives us some cut as well as some finish at the same time. So it's kind of almost a 2-in-1 disc in itself, or wheel in itself, should I say. Also, what's nice about these, they come with an M14 thread on the back of them. So I can actually use this directly on my angle grinder. So not only can I polish with an angle grinder, I can also linear finish with this tool. So again, exploiting the versatility of this fabulous tool we have in front of us here. Okay, stage 2 is another Beartex wheel, but this time, instead of it being interleaved, we just have Beartex on there. So it's a pure non-woven hand pad type material attached to this wheel, and that will give us our final finish. So we do the cut with this product and a little bit of finish with that, but we get a final finish with this one, just a little bit brighter, a little bit finer. Okay, so let me show you how to mount these on the machine. Okay, so again, our angle grind here, the power is off. So again, because we have our M14 attachment here, it screws directly on. We must make sure, actually, we take off our back flange to get it in there properly. Put them over there safely, don't lose them. We can actually spin this directly on to our thread of the angle grinder, and it fits lovely. One thing you might notice is the guard now could interfere with the sheet of the steel, and we really don't want the guard to hit this steel and create a scratch. What we need to do is we need to adjust it. So with the adjusting trigger we have on the side of this machine, I can now move the guard round to this angle, and that's now out of my way. So no chance of clashing with the material. Okay, so if I'm now going to start putting a linear scratch in here, and I've already got my polished finish here, you may be asking, well, what are you going to do about crossover? And by crossover, I mean actually getting the scratch I'm putting here is going to actually encroach into my polished finish. I don't want that. I want a nice defined line, so a really accurate line across this sheet of steel between the linear finish and the polish. So I need somehow to protect the polished surface on here from this disc and limit it to only areas so we get a nice accurate line. We have a very nice product we could do that with, which is called our Norton stainless steel tape, as we have in front of you here. So it comes in a nice pack here, and you can just simply pull out whatever length of this stainless steel tape that you require and cut it off with a pair of scissors. It's just essentially a very thin stainless steel, again, tape, as I said, with some sticky back tape applied to it. So I can put it on our metal sheet here, and use it almost like a masking tape when you're painting. It's essentially the same thing. What it will do is it will protect the polished finish and then also give me a defined line where we have our linear finish. So because I'm prepared, I've already cut a piece to the right length earlier, and here we have it. So quite a longer bit of tape we have to apply here today. And I'm going to have to take my gloves off for this because I have to take the tape off, the sticky tape off the back before I put it down there. Let's get rid of that for a second. Okay, so I need the gloves off. Be very careful when you're peeling the tape off this stainless steel tape, because if you do touch the edges, the point corners there, it will cut you. So be really careful. Okay, I've already marked up the sheet where I want this tape to be. So I'm going to stick the first edge on my mark here, and then I'm going to find my other mark here, and then I'm going to peel off the tape behind. Now I can stick that down exactly where I want it to be, smooth it down, and then take off the rest of the tape to the end of the sheet. Okay. Perfect. Let's get rid of that. Always good to tuck the ends over as well so you don't flick the tape up by mistake. Okay, perfect. Right, so I think you can see now, if I'd have polished all of this section here, you can see where I'm going to be doing my linear finishing. That will not affect this polish because it's protected by the tape. So I can do whatever I want here to get that nice linear finish without worrying about the beautiful polished surface I did earlier. Okay, so let's get the gloves on and my headgear. And we can start to polish. Again, speeds. We need to reduce the speed, so you need a variable speed angle grinder for these. So make sure you have a look at the speed rating on your tool. And I think this one is rated at 6,000 RPM. So again, I've got my grinder set on 6,000 RPM already because I was using a rapid polish earlier. So we are ready to go. Okay, so again, I'm going to be concentrating in this area because that's where I've polished. That's where we're going to see the difference in finish. But I'm going to get a linear scratch in this direction. So I want to come from this side. Okay, I can't do it in this direction because if I actually use the wheel in this way on the tape, I will actually lift it up. So I've either got to go from that side. If I wanted to finish in that direction, I would have to go the other side of the sheet and grind that way. So the wheel is not flicking the tape up. But I actually want the finish to be in the direction of the word live. Okay, I think that will be more impactful visually. So I'm going to come from over this side of the bench to do that. Okay, so when you're finishing, so we just, again, offer the machine up here, and we simply offer it back and forth. Don't put too much pressure on. Just let the wheel do the work. Let the wheel impart the linear finish, and it should look very, very good. Now, there are, again, some deeper scratches in this area. When we do find the deeper scratches, we want the wheel to be more aggressive. So don't push. There's no need to push on the wheel. But how we make the wheel act more aggressively is we lean it over. So we reduce the contact area to a smaller area, and we concentrate in the area where we have a deep scratch, and we can remove that really easily with that. Once it's gone, we can then put it back flat, and then again, grind and blend the area where we did that extra work. Right, so let's see how this linear finishing works. Okay, so again, I'm not going to do the whole sheet because due to time constraints we have today, but I'm not sure if you could pick up on the camera, but we have got a very nice linear finish in front of us here. Now, I think you could see the way I was moving up and down there quite quickly. That's for a reason, not because I want to get the job done quick. If you go slowly with one of these wheels, you will see almost a path of where you've gone. You know, it's not easy to keep the machine in an exact straight line. So if you go up and down slowly, you will end up with almost like a snake-like path of exactly where the wheels traveled. To avoid that, again, less pressure, more speed. If you keep going up and down, it will just blend it into a nice homogeneous surface, as we can see here. Okay, so that's the first step. We've removed the scratches. We've put a deeper linear scratch back into the surface. So now I want to refine it a little bit more with our pure Baretex wheel. So let's get that mounted. Power off. Again, wonderful M14 hub for our quick change factor on these. Really helps with when you're doing lots of different things with these products to keep changing over. Makes it very, very quick. Wind on the next wheel. Nice and tight. Power back on. Okay. And we can repeat and again refine this linear scratch to an even brighter one. So again, don't need to spend too long because I think you get the idea of what we're trying to do. Okay, so we got our polish, we've got our linear scratch as we want it. Now I need to see if the metal tape has done its job, and I'm pretty confident with that. So yeah, obviously I wouldn't take this off normally until I'd finished the whole sheet because it's just a waste of tape. I'd have to reapply it again. But I just wanted to do it to show you what difference this actually makes. Okay. So there we go with the metal tape. So now I think you can see the difference we've got in that very, very defined line between our polished finish and our linear scratch. Again, hopefully on the camera you can pick that up, but from here, from where I'm looking, looks really nice, to be honest with you. It looks very, very defined. And what's even nicer, I've almost got that line in the middle between the Norton and the Live sign as well, which is a testament to my tape measure skills. So very happy with that. Okay, but as you can see, a lot more work to do, a lot more finishing and polishing to do. So I'm going to be here for quite some time today to finish this off. And yeah, it's going to be a fun job. Okay, so I think we should have a quick recap now because we're nearly at the half-hour stage for our live build stream today. So quick reminder. So the first stage is for our polishing. Okay, so we use a two-step process for polishing with our rapid polish disc, our pure felt disc, again on a variable speed grinder, in combination with, first of all, our cutting compound, our brown compound. And that's, again, as I said earlier on, is to reduce the scratch and give us less work to do with the fine polishing compound, which is our white compound here. So that's the compound where we get our glass. So brown compound for doing your cutting with the rapid polish disc. Then we swap over to the white compound to make the finish really pop from the surface there, which I'm sure you'll agree it does. A bit dirty at the moment, but we can clean that off. It'll look fabulous. Then for the linear finishing, as we said, we use our Saturn X wheels with our M14 thread, so it's quick change. And again, you can use an angle grinder to give you a finish, which is pretty amazing for such a normal tool. It can be so versatile to do these things. Again, it must be variable speed. And we do, again, need a two-stage process. So we have this wheel here with the interleaved P60 coated abrasive to give you some cut, and the medium grey hand pad to give you the finish. and then we move on to our pure non-woven wheel to give us our final matte scratch that we have in front of us here. So really nice job with these products. I think it will look really good when it's finished. Talking about finish, so I'm now going to tell you a little bit about the reveal that we're going to have. So once I've done all this work, we're going to have a little reveal. But when I've finished all the grinding, what we do need to do is get our backlighting done. Because this is a backlit sign. So what we need to do to do that is we need to give, first of all, some color. So we want the Norton to be in blue, backlit, of course, and the Live to be in red. So we want two different colors here. And to do that, we're going to use lighting gel. Okay, so I don't know if you've ever heard of lighting gel before, but this is the kind of product they use in theaters, on the lights, in your nightclub, wherever you go out. If you have the lights up there in the red color, this is the material they use on there. It is lighting gel. So we're going to use the blue gel here behind the Norton letters to give us our nice classic Norton blue. And then on the red, we're going to put it on the Live. What we're going to do is we're going to attach this gel to the back of this sheet. So, we can see all the finish here, and all you see is the color through the letters. And then we're going to attach that onto the back of that, an LED lighting strip. And Martin, would you mind bringing that over? I didn't want to have that here because it's a bit dirty like the gels have got. Thank you, Martin. So this is our LED lighting panel that we've purchased. It's exactly the same size as the sheet we've got. So we can adhere this and glue this to the back of our sheet, plug it in, and it'll shine blue through the Norton logo and red through our Live logo. And I hope it will look absolutely fabulous. And to put that on, to glue that on, both the gels and our backlit LED light there, I'm going to use our One Bond MS Hybrid grab adhesive. Okay, I don't want these to delaminate at all in the future, and this stuff will make sure that does not happen. A really high quality grab adhesive that takes a short amount of time to go off. Okay, so again, I've got a lot of work to do for the rest of the day, getting this all polished in our two-step process, then linear finishing, putting the lighting gel on, putting the backlit sign back, powering it all up, all ready for our reveal, which, Martin, I think it'd be best if you tell people what's going to happen for the reveal of our finished Norton Live sign. Over to you, Martin.
Thanks, Paul. As ever, we'll be streaming on the third Friday of the month, which will make it the 15th of November at 11:30 CET. Now, during the stream, we will recap each step of the build and the products that we used. We will be live in all the usual places, LinkedIn, YouTube, and of course our website, where you'll have the option of multilingual subtitles. And given the issues we've had with the Q&A, and because actually the next stream will be a little bit shorter than usual, we won't be having the Q&A for the reveal. So, Paul, it's back over to you, and I'm really looking forward to showing the viewers what we have made.
Great, thank you again, Martin, for that. Apologies about the Q&A session today. Real shame we couldn't interact with you today, but another technical issue. Again, it is live TV, and these things do happen, unfortunately. But thank you for joining us today on the Norton Live Builds. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.